The night split with a roar of magic, fire racing across the courtyard as Elias staggered to his knees, his chest heaving with pain. His heart pounded louder than the flames, and he whispered, "It wasn't supposed to be her." Smoke stung his eyes, but he saw her clearly. Aria's tear-streaked face, her arms trembling as she reached toward him, only to be pulled back by the enemy. The enemy's hand clamped tight around Aria's wrist, dragging her into the shadows. Elias tried to shift, his body fighting to release the beast within, but silver chains cut into his skin, searing his strength away. The enemy sneered. "She was never yours to save." Elias's voice broke as he cried out, "Aria, don't let go!" Aria's voice quivered. "I'll find you, I swear." The words were swallowed by fire, leaving Elias trapped between agony and helpless rage. As the night consumed everything he loved, the fire's echoes faded into silence as Elias lay on blackened stones, his breath ragged. Chains burned into his wrists, searing trails of smoke. Yet Aria's last words echoed like a fragile lifeline. Elias whispered, "She believes in me." From the archway, a shadow emerged. Kaelen, his mentor. Kaelen's face was etched with age and grief, his voice urgent. "You cannot give in, Elias. Aria's fate is bound to yours." Elias turned bloodshot eyes upward, anger in his voice. "I was too weak to stop the enemy." Kaelen knelt, placing a trembling hand on Elias's shoulder. "Strength is not denying weakness, but protecting what matters despite it." Moonlight pierced drifting smoke, revealing Elias's bloodied form. He remembered Aria's fearless vow, the defiance in her eyes. His voice rasped, "How can she find me when I am bound like this?" Kaelen crouched beside him, speaking softly, "Because love has always been stronger than chains. That is what terrifies the enemy." Elias closed his eyes, memories of laughter with Aria piercing the despair. His jaw tightened. "If Aria suffers because of me, I will burn the world to reach her." Kaelen's eyes held weary pride as he answered, "Then you are closer to your truth than you realize." The night grew colder as fire dimmed. Elias leaned back against broken stone, breath sharp with pain. Kaelen's gaze lifted toward the horizon. "The enemy will not rest until your secret is unbound. He hunts Aria and the truth within you." Elias shuddered as the beast inside stirred. His voice cracked. "If he forces me to shift, the curse will take Aria too." Kaelen placed his hand firmly on Elias's arm. "Then you must master what you fear most before it consumes you both." Elias's despair hardened to resolve. "Then teach me before it's too late." Dawn spilled gold across the horizon, smoke rising from ruins. Elias's body ached, but Aria's vow ignited hope within him. Kaelen's tone softened, rare warmth in his words. "The path you walk may break you, Elias, but it may also free Aria." Elias gave a ragged laugh. "I have nothing left to lose but her." Kaelen's gaze turned distant, scarred by memory. "That is what makes you dangerous. Love leaves no fear for the enemy to claim." Elias's eyes sharpened as dawn struck the chains. "Then I'll make sure he regrets taking her." The forest beyond the ruins whispered, with dawn's breath, shadows stretching across moss and stone. Elias stumbled forward, silver chains broken by Kaelen's hand, though scars still burned on his wrists. His voice was hoarse. "How can I protect her if I cannot even master myself?" Kaelen walked beside him, eyes solemn. "You fear your nature, Elias, but that fear gives the enemy power." Elias's steps faltered as memories of Aria's touch ignited raw longing within him. He clenched his fists, trembling with rage. "The enemy holds her, and I cannot even shift without endangering her life." Kaelen stopped him, gripping his shoulder firmly. "Then you will learn control here now, before the curse decides for you." Elias nodded, despair edged with fire in his eyes. By midday, Kaelen led Elias into a clearing where ancient stones jutted like teeth from the earth. The air shimmered faintly, the residue of old magic pulsing with life. Elias looked around warily. "This place feels alive." Kaelen's tone was grave. It is. Here your power cannot hide. The land itself will pull at your truth. Elias swallowed, tension tightening his chest. If I lose control, what becomes of me? Kaelen's eyes hardened. Then I stop you, no matter the cost. Elias's gaze locked with his mentor's, fear and defiance colliding. He exhaled shakily. Then teach me, before I destroy the only thing I have left. Kaelen lifted his hand, symbols glowing faintly in the air. The ground trembled as Kaelen's spell awakened, light spilling across the stones. Elias gasped as his body convulsed, his magic clawing for release. He fell to his knees, growling through clenched teeth. It's burning me. Kaelen's voice cut through his agony. Do not fight it. Shape it. Elias's skin flickered with shadowy fur before retreating, his eyes flashing gold for a heartbeat. He panted heavily, sweat dripping. If I let it out, Aria dies. Kaelen crouched in front of him, voice sharp but steady. No, Elias. If you refuse to face it, you both die. Elias pressed his palms against the earth, trying to cage the beast within. His whisper carried both fury and fear. Then I will master it, or I will burn. The training circle pulsed brighter, pressing Elias into a crucible of pain and revelation. Sparks erupted around him as he howled, half-shifted, claws forming then vanishing. Kaelen shouted over the roar, "Anchor yourself, Elias. Find what steadies you." Through the storm of magic, only Aria's face filled his mind. Her laugh, her promise. Elias's voice broke, "She is my anchor." The light snapped violently, shadows tearing at his body as his form wavered between man and beast. He slammed his fist into the earth, eyes blazing gold, then dimming again. Kaelen's hand hovered near a protective sigil, ready to intervene. Elias's scream split the clearing as he forced himself back, trembling but alive. Exhaustion collapsed Elias against the stones, his chest rising with ragged breaths. Kaelen approached slowly, his voice steady but edged with urgency. "You found her within the chaos. That is power, Elias, not weakness." Elias wiped blood from his lips, trembling. "But it nearly consumed me." Kaelen knelt beside him, eyes softening. "Every gift demands a price. What matters is what you choose to pay it for." Elias turned his gaze toward the horizon, where smoke rose faintly. His voice dropped to a whisper, heavy with devotion. "I would pay anything for Aria." Kaelen placed a hand on his shoulder, grief and pride mingling. "Then you will face the enemy with more than strength. You will face him with purpose." Night descended as Elias sat beside the fading fire, his body sore from Kaelen's training. The forest creaked with unseen life, yet his mind was chained to Aria's memory. He whispered to himself, "She is out there afraid, and I am here broken." Kaelen sharpened his staff in silence before speaking. "Strength is forged in patience, Elias. You are not ready to face the enemy yet." Elias glared into the flames, his jaw tight. "If I wait, Aria suffers." Kaelen's eyes narrowed. "If you rush, you both perish." The weight of the truth pressed heavily on Elias, but his heart defied reason. He clenched his fist, voice trembling. "Every moment she is with him feels like my soul is burning." Far away, Aria stood in a dimly lit chamber carved from stone, the enemy's stronghold heavy with shadows. Chains bound her wrists, yet her spirit did not falter. She whispered to herself, "Elias will come." The enemy emerged from the darkness, his hood lowered, revealing pale features and crimson eyes that glimmered with hunger. His tone was cold. "You waste hope on a man, cursed by his own blood." Aria's voice sharpened, trembling with fury. "He is stronger than you know." The enemy circled her slowly, his fingers brushing the chains. "Then let us see if his love can endure the weight of truth." Aria turned her face away, hiding the tear that betrayed her fear. Back in the clearing, Elias clutched Kaelen's staff in training, his body battered from countless falls. Sweat poured as he forced his magic into focus. "Again," Elias growled, staggering to his feet. Kaelen watched his voice steady. "Your rage blinds you. power is not rage, Elias. It is clarity. Elias's golden eyes flickered, his voice strained. But rage is all I have left. Kaelen struck the staff against the earth, the rune circle pulsing with light. Then you must learn to shape it into purpose, or the curse will own you. Elias staggered forward, determination blazing in his eyes, his whisper fierce. For Aria I will learn, even if it kills me. Aria paced her chamber when the door creaked open, and another figure entered. A shadowy presence revealed itself. Lorien, the shapeshifter, cloaked in deceptive calm. His voice was smooth. Elias cannot reach you, but I can. Aria narrowed her eyes, distrust playing. Why should I believe you? Lorien smirked, his eyes glinting with secrets. Because the enemy's game will cost you more than chains. I have no loyalty to him. Aria's voice trembled with both hope and suspicion. If you truly mean to help, prove it. Lorien leaned closer, lowering his voice. Trust is never free, Aria. Decide quickly, for shadows close fast. The forest shivered under starlight as Elias collapsed after another failed attempt, his body shuddering with pain. Kaelen steadied him, voice low. You pushed too hard. Elias's golden eyes dimmed, his voice hoarse. If Aria suffers one more night, I cannot forgive myself. Kaelen sighed heavily. Love drives you, Elias, but it must not consume you. Elias gritted his teeth, trembling as he forced himself upright once more. I do not fear pain. I fear losing her. Kaelen's gaze softened, sorrow etched deep in his features. Then may that fear become your strength. Elias's whisper carried like a vow. I will not fail Aria. Storm clouds gathered over the forest as Kaelen led Elias toward an ancient ruin, half buried in moss. The air throbbed with unseen power. Kaelen's voice was grim. This is where truth sleeps. Elias clenched his fists, eyes burning with unease. What truth are you hiding from me? Kaelen's silence stretched heavy, his face shadowed. Finally he whispered, Your curse was not born, Elias. It was bound. Rage ignited in Elias's chest. You knew. What knew? Kaelen's gaze broke with sorrow. I swore to protect you from the knowledge, but the enemy already knows. Elias staggered back, his voice hoarse with betrayal. All this time I fought a lie. Inside the ruin, torches flickered against walls etched with runes. Elias traced one with trembling fingers, the symbols pulsing under his touch. He whispered, This is my mark. Kaelen's voice carried sorrow. It is the seal that bound your power, Elias. It was forged by blood sacrifice. Elias turned sharply, fury etched into his face. Whose blood? Kaelen hesitated, then lowered his gaze. Your mother's. Silence thundered louder than storm outside. Elias staggered, his chest heaving. You let me believe I was cursed when I was her price. Kaelen's voice cracked. If you had known, the curse would have consumed you before now. Elias's fury was laced with grief. Far away, Aria was dragged into a grand chamber lit with black flames. The enemy stood over a carved altar, his crimson eyes alight with cruel triumph. He hissed, Do you know why Elias cannot abandon you? Aria glared, her voice steady despite chains. Because he loves me. The enemy smirked, stepping closer. Because your soul is tied to his curse. You are his anchor, Aria. But you are also his undoing. Her breath caught, the truth slicing deeper than chains. She whispered, You're lying. The enemy leaned close, voice cold as ice. When he breaks free, you will burn first. In the ruin, Elias slammed his fist against the stone, the runes flaring in violent response. Kaelen reached for him, voice urgent. You must calm yourself. Elias's golden eyes flared brighter. My mother died so I could live bound in chains. You hid it from me. Kaelen's voice trembled. I hid it to save you. Elias staggered back, fire blazing under his skin. And Aria, she is my tether, isn't she? Kaelen's silence was his answer. Elias's voice shook with fury and pain. If she dies, I'd die. Kaelen's reply was quiet but unyielding. If you lose yourself, Elias, she dies first. That night, Elias sat outside the ruins beneath the storm, rain lashing his scarred skin. His voice cracked as he whispered into the storm, "Aria, I will not fail you." Kaelen stood a few steps away, silent, knowing words could not soothe. The weight of revelation pressed against Elias's chest, yet his fury carved clarity. He clenched his fists. "I will master this curse, and I will break the enemy." Lightning split the sky, casting him in raw golden light. Kaelen lowered his head, his voice faint. "Then may the truth that haunts you also guide you." Elias's vow burned into the storm. The forest howled under the storm as Elias trained without pause, his body trembling with exhaustion. Kaelen's voice rose above the rain. "You are tearing yourself apart." Elias's golden eyes flickered wildly, his chest heaving. "Better me than Aria." Kaelen stepped closer, his tone sharp. "If you break now, you give the enemy victory." Elias roared, slamming his fist into the earth, sparks of magic erupting in violent bursts. His voice shook with fury and grief. "I will not let him win." Kaelen's eyes softened as he whispered, "But you may lose yourself." The storm swallowed Elias's silence. In the enemy's fortress, Aria sat chained to the altar, her body trembling with cold. Lorien slipped into the chamber, his voice low. "You do not have long." Aria lifted her head, suspicion in her gaze. "Why help me now?" Lorien smirked faintly, gray eyes glinting. "Because the enemy underestimates me. And you." Aria's voice cracked with defiance. "Then, free me." Lorien shook his head, stepping closer. "Freedom comes at a cost. Elias is your strength, but also your chain. If you want to live, you must sever it." Aria's eyes widened in horror. "You're telling me to betray him?" Lorien whispered, "I'm telling you to survive." Back in the clearing, Elias collapsed to his knees, blood on his lips, golden light flickering from his skin. Kaelen knelt beside him, voice low but firm. "Your body cannot endure this much longer." Elias's whisper rasped. "Aria cannot endure him." Kaelen's hand gripped Elias's shoulder, his voice breaking. "If you fall now, you doom her." Elias's eyes blazed in defiance. "If I stop, she dies anyway." A heavy silence stretched until Kaelen closed his eyes. "Then may your love save you, Elias, where strength cannot." Elias looked to the storm above, whispering like a vow, "It is all I have left." Aria's chamber trembled as the enemy entered, his crimson eyes glowing with satisfaction. "He is breaking piece by piece." Aria spat the words back at him. "He will find me." The enemy leaned close, his smile venomous. "He may find you, but when he does, his curse will kill you first." Aria's breath hitched, pain flashing across her face. "You lie." The enemy touched her cheek with cruel intimacy. "You feel it already, don't you?" The tether burns each time his power rises. Tears welled in Aria's eyes, though her voice hardened. "Even if it kills me, I will never belong to you." The enemy's smirk widened. That night, Elias stood at the cliff's edge, the storm broken into silence. His body bore scars of training, yet his heart burned with purpose. Kaelen joined him quietly. "The enemy will strike soon." Elias's golden eyes glowed faintly in the moonlight. "Then, let him. I will not run." Kaelen's expression softened, sorrow clouding his gaze. "Elias, if the tether breaks, you may lose Aria forever." Elias turned toward him, voice steady with conviction. "Then I will fight until my last breath to keep her. Even if it kills me, I will not let her go." The vow sealed itself in the night air. The fortress loomed beneath a blood-red sky as Elias approached, his golden eyes blazing in the night. Kaelen walked at his side, silent but grim, knowing the cost of what was to come. Elias's voice cut through the wind. "Tonight it ends." Kaelen nodded, his tone heavy. "Be warned, Elias. The enemy will use Aria against you." Elias's jaw tightened, his chest rising with fury. He already has. The gates of stone groaned as Elias pushed them open, sparks of magic rolling from his skin. His voice echoed like a vow. No more chains, no more lies. Tonight, I take her back. Inside the fortress, Aria strained against her chains as the enemy descended the altar steps, his crimson eyes glowing like fire. He comes for you, the enemy hissed. Aria spat her defiance. And he will find me. The enemy's lips curved into a cruel smile. He will find you only to watch you burn. She fought her chains, voice breaking with fury. You underestimate us both. The enemy leaned close, his words like poison. You are not his salvation, Aria. You are his curse. Her voice trembled, but she held his gaze. If love is my curse, then I embrace it. The chamber doors burst open as Elias stormed inside, lightning sparking across his skin. Aria's eyes widened with relief, her voice breaking. Elias. The enemy turned with a sneer, his crimson eyes glowing brighter. So the beast finally arrives. Elias's voice thundered. Let her go. The enemy raised a hand, black magic swirling in the air. Claim her if you dare, Shifter. But know this. Every strike you make tears her apart. Elias's fury blazed as his form shuddered between man and beast. Aria's voice cut through the storm. Elias, remember me? His golden eyes locked onto hers, anchoring his rage. Magic clashed violently as Elias lunged, golden light colliding with the enemy's crimson fire. The walls shook, stones splintering under the force. Aria cried out, pain surging through her as the tether burned. Elias staggered, his voice breaking. No, she feels it. The enemy laughed, his voice echoing like thunder. Your love is your weakness. Kaelen's voice rang from the doorway. Elias, focus, shape your power. Elias's golden light flared brighter, his roar shaking the chamber. He whispered to himself, not weakness, anchor. With Aria's name on his lips, he drove forward, power surging in unstoppable force. The climax erupted as Elias unleashed his full power, golden light engulfing the enemy. The tether burned within Aria, her scream piercing the chaos. Elias's body trembled, torn between fury and love. Hold on, Aria. The enemy roared as his form cracked, crimson flames sputtering. With a final surge, Elias slammed his hand against the altar, golden energy shattering the chains that bound her. Aria collapsed into his arms, trembling but alive. The enemy staggered back, his form flickering with shadows. Elias's voice rose in defiance. You will never have her. The chamber exploded with light, destiny hanging by a thread. The chamber fell silent, golden dust settling over broken stone. Elias held Aria close, his chest heaving as the last of his light dimmed. Kaelen entered, his face a map of grief and pride. Aria's whisper trembled. You saved me. Elias pressed his forehead against hers, his voice raw. I almost lost you. Kaelen's gaze lingered on the fractured altar. The enemy is not gone, only weakened. Elias's fists tightened, fury still alive in his eyes. Then I'll finish him. Aria's hand touched his face, soft yet firm. Not for vengeance, Elias, for us. Her words steadied his broken spirit. Outside the fortress, the night sky cleared, revealing a pale dawn breaking through. Aria leaned against Elias, her chains now broken at her feet. She whispered, I thought I would never see the sky again. Elias's arm wrapped around her shoulders. You'll see every dawn from now on. Kaelen stood near the crumbling gates, his voice distant. The bond remains, Elias. She is still tethered to your power. Elias lowered his gaze, guilt flickering in his eyes. Then every breath I take will protect her, not endanger her. Aria looked up at him, her voice soft but fierce. Together, Elias. Always. By a quiet stream in the forest, Elias washed the blood from his arms, his reflection fractured in the rippling water. Aria knelt beside him, her fingers brushing his scarred wrists. You carry her sacrifice, she whispered, but it doesn't define you. Elias's eyes darkened, his voice heavy. My mother bound me, Kaelen hid the truth. And now you suffer because of me. Aria leaned closer, her voice tender but unyielding. I suffer without you, not with you. Kaelen watched from the distance, sorrow and pride mingling in his eyes. Elias's golden eyes softened as he whispered, Then I will live for us both. As dusk settled, Elias stood at the edge of a cliff with Aria beside him, the horizon painted in fire and gold. His voice was quiet. I feel her still, the tether. Aria's hand slid into his, her voice steady. Then we carry it together. Kaelen approached slowly, his staff in hand. The enemy will rise again. Darkness does not die so easily. Elias's jaw set with fierce resolve. Then let him rise. This time he faces us both. Aria leaned her head against his shoulder, her whisper soft but certain. He cannot win against love. The wind carried her words into the fading light. Night returned, and under a canopy of stars, Elias and Aria lay together in the grass, the ruins behind them faint in the distance. Aria whispered, Do you think peace will ever last? Elias brushed her hair gently, his voice low. Peace is fragile, but love is stronger. She smiled faintly, closing her eyes. Then let love be our shield. Kaelen watched quietly from the shadows, his heart heavy with unspoken truths. The wind rustled leaves like a lullaby, as Elias pressed a kiss to Aria's forehead. His whisper lingered in the night. As long as I breathe, you are mine.